Hello and welcome, freedom fighters and warriors. Welcome back. So, on today's podcast, we have Samantha from High Vibrations. This is Essential Talks, where you come for the conversation and you leave empowered. So, many of you might have seen Samantha's videos as she posted them on Instagram, and they went viral for her stand against the powers to be. So, I'm going to let Samantha get right into her story. We're going to have a little bit of a shorter episode with this one, but it's action packed and there's a lot in here. So, Samantha, why don't you start right from the beginning? As soon as you opened and they started hounding you.
Yeah, sure. Perfect. Hello, everyone. So, yeah, my name's Samantha. I'm the owner and founder and creator of High Vibrations Dance, Wellness, and Spiritual Center. Obviously, clearly essential in these times. I offer everything for the mind, body, and soul from, healing, dancing, prayer circles, sound healing, and much, much more. So when the lockdown started happening and I stayed open, the area where I'm in, they don't like me. So a lot of people started calling, started complaining. And that's when it started, just right away started with bylaws. And they would miss me. So because I'm open all day. I take little breaks in between before classes. And so they'd always miss me and put things on my door. Then the harassment started when they started coming. So they'd be coming with like South Simcoe police to like intimidate me and to tell me to close down. So it started with a phone call warning. And I literally told the guy, I didn't hide it. I wasn't scared. I'm like, I'm staying open. So I stayed open. He threatened me by the phone call. And I said, no, I'm still open. I'm not closing. Then they threatened again that they were going to come if they caught me in the action. I said, well, I'm open. So they ended up coming about 3 days later after that call. So this has taken us into like April time, maybe early May. And they started by threatening me again, shut down, shut down. Finally, they came and they charged me $200,000. Well, the tickets are $100,000, but they gave me two, which were the exact same tickets, basically. My lawyers are saying, but they charged me twice, saying that I wasn't complying, saying that I was staying open. So even after giving me that, they thought that I would close. I stayed open again. I just continued staying open. I'm very vocal on my social media. I'm very transparent against all this. And they came back with a Section 22 order, forcing me, saying that, threatening me with a $5,000 fine every day, that I have to close down, that I could only do a virtual dance. I can't do anything else spiritual. So at that point, I started to rise even more. I started like yelling back at them, just like putting my foot down, like standing up against this, and they didn't like it. So they came again to warn me, and then they came again with another Section 22 order. Then they came again with the police, and then they came a final time where that one went completely viral worldwide, and that was when they brought a female South Simcoe police to come, and they came with a Section 9 order, which is like they basically went from like Section 22s. It didn't even let me breathe, and they're like, forget it. They like stepped out a whole bunch of other ones and went straight to Section 9. At that time, what Section 9 order, what they wanted, every Section 9 order could be different. Like Adamson, it was pretty much up there with Adamson, where they wanted to allow South Simcoe to police to arrest me, to restrain me from my property. They wanted a restraining order against me. They wanted to close my business down. They also wanted me to pay all costs that it costs to take me to court. They wanted me to basically say that I will always comply with every single request. So at their beck and call, basically. So I denied it. I said, nope, I'm not complying to it. I'm not signing it. I'm not taking the undertake. I'm staying open. I need to keep my business open. At that point, the Ontario government took me in to court. So they were like, we're taking her fully in. Like, we don't care. We want a request for the judge to put this order on her, to close her down. So that's where it got crazy, because they were coming to just threaten me. I was like, get off my property. So in that time, because I kept standing, and I was triggering them because I'm very spiritual and my faith carries me through everything and my connection with God. So I kept standing with him against everything. And they didn't like me. They just wanted me down. So I ended up having to get a lawyer to help me in this fight. And I went to court on July 9th. And I didn't win in that very moment. It was a 6-hour court date. But basically, we just pleaded the side of saying, like, I just spoke my truth, my affidavit from my heart, and how I lost my first business because of this. I'm now in a smaller location that I can't do as much services. I'm just trying to make it work. I got no loans, no grants, no rent subsidy for my business location, nothing. And it took a while for them to get back, but I won. It was a success story. So basically, when she wrote back and gave the order, it was almost literally 7 weeks later. And I'm thinking, I'm just sitting around waiting. At any point, they could come arrest me. But I just pray every day, and I just kept going in, staying strong. And they finally said that she's not going to put the order against me, but she wanted costs against me. And the government was not happy. So basically, it was like a win-lose. This is August now. I'm taking you to August. So basically in August, they said that they wanted to take me back in. They weren't happy with her order. And the judge never saw something like that. Like, they actually wanted to take me back in. They're like, no, it doesn't matter. We want her to have it. She's going to rebel. Go look at her social media. And then the judge is like, you can't go against me. You just have to do another application against her. So literally, Jamie, like, and girls, they wanted me back in again. I was like, oh my goodness. Like, they were just like, no, we're not happy that she doesn't have the Section 9 order on her. So they asked for $27,000. And obviously I was like, where am I going to pull that out of? So then they asked, and they moved it down to $10,000 just to take me to court. This is the money that they want. And then finally, my lawyers and I, we had to go back into court again about 4 weeks ago for costs, because they just wanted, they're like, nope, we want her money. She has a GoFundMe. We want her money. But meanwhile, the GoFundMe was for my lawyers. So then we went back and fought again. She made it down to 4,000. So it was a win and a tiny lose, because the judge was like, we still have to put something against her. Basically, like, we still have to pat her on her hand. Like, we have to discipline her. They didn't want to just let it be a complete win. But to me, it's still a massive win. Like, I set precedent now, because so far, the only 3 that went this far was me, Adamson's Barbecue, and Pastor Hildebrand. There's 3 of us that got this order out of all of Ontario. It's actually really sad, because more people should be standing, and just fighting till the bitter end. Some of us got lucky. I guess it stopped at Section 22s, but I got 3 Section 22s, and I beat them all.
Awesome. So we'll get into that in a second. So I'm going to put this into perspective to some of our viewers. So Samantha is a proud mother and a wife, who's a business owner, who through this whole nonsense has lost a lot. And like myself, I'm in the courts too. And when they told me that they're going to go for $10,000, I literally looked at the prosecutor, and I'm sure you felt the same way. How dare you? You guys put me through this scrutiny. I'm losing my business. I've lost a good chunk of my livelihood. And now you want to take more money from me. How dare you?
Right.
Who are you to say I can't make a living to survive, to feed my family, and especially yourself? How many children do you have, Samantha?
Yeah, so I have 2 children. I actually have one that's graduating from high school this year that will be going, she's not going to go to university. She wants to go to college, but still, like, it's still going to be college fees. And, then I have a 9-year-old daughter who I pulled out of the system as well, out of the school system. So, so I have 2 children, and it's heartbreaking, that they still want money from me, like you said, Jamie, because I'm just like, for what? Like, what is, like, and the fact that the judge actually did rule it against me. She did. So I did get that ruled against me, that I have to pay. And I'm thinking, where am I? Like, my lawyer's like, where do you expect her to get this money from? Like, you guys gave her nothing, first of all. She's still by the grace of God, I'm surviving, because that's the honest to God truth. So I literally was, just to backtrack a bit, before I opened up and before this whole thing that happened in March, I was only barely 7 months in of leaving a career of 14 years to birth the creation of High Vibrations, a spiritual center for the mind, body, and soul. So I was new. I'm from California. So I'm not from here. I don't have lots of people to support me. It was literally a leap of absolute faith. And the fact that, that happened, and then they forced me to close, and I complied. I complied the first time because I was in a plaza that was owned by a management group. So I lost that location. So when we went to court, that's what I couldn't believe. Didn't even touch the judge to say, like, I lost my first location due to this. And I had, like, again, the grace of God, I was able to open up in the middle of a pandemic, lost my first location due to this, due to no income coming in, no help, no rent subsidy, nothing. The landlord didn't even apply for any for me. He was such a jerk. And I opened up in the middle of this. So this was 2020 summer, June, where I got my second location. In the middle, like I said, I was a brand new entrepreneur, just 8 months in, barely. And she still put costs against me, which is so heartbreaking, knowing that I didn't get anything from them. It's not like I took out a big loan or I got grants or I got some kind of money to survive. I got nothing, literally nothing. And she knows that, because when she took me to court, my lawyers said to me, this is the Ontario government that had you in court. There's no way you can lie. And they knew I wasn't lying, but they said, just to let you know, just in case you got 10,000, you got any help. I said, I got nothing. Like, there's nothing, not even a penny. So let's go. Let's fight it. Let's stand, because, not even just for the money, but they literally are breaking me. I think when people listen to me, whether they're faithful or not, or if they have anything, this is not what that's about. But literally the words, by the grace of God, that's getting me through, it's the truth, because there's a purpose for my center. How many people I've healed, how many people have wanted to commit suicide, but they come for a healing with me. They come to a prayer circle. They come to a sound healing, whatever they come to do. And I've literally saved lives. So that's my biggest gift, is that God held me here to be here now to fight. Because if I would have buckled and got scared and closed my doors, which I was 99.999% in the predicament to close. So I fought for them. I fought for all the kids that I teach. I fought for all the teenagers, all the adults, everybody. And I also fought for freedom and stood up for everything against all of this. So I'm grateful to have not been given that order. It was a massive win, but it was a lot of pain involved. Lots of grief.
Oh, definitely. It'd be a big struggle. There's been a lot of businesses that were filled with false hope that the Ontario government gave them on grants and loans and everything else. Even the businesses that did get the grants and the loans, there's no way they can justify the piddly amount of money they gave to these businesses, like the $40,000 loan, which you have to pay back. I know somebody that had 16 businesses and they got 40 grand, not each business, just 40 grand. So there's no justification of what they did.
Right.
If there was a parliamentary act, then they could tell us what we would have to be closed, but they'd have to compensate us. So we'd have to submit from our books what they would owe us. So there's so many businesses like yourself that wound up getting nothing.
Nothing.
But the government aired everywhere how much help they were doing when they really weren't. So, I mean, this hopefully this will educate some people listening to see that the government really didn't help us. They were too busy stepping on us and then dragging us into court for our God-given unalienable rights of survival to support ourselves, and then infringe all upon that. So hats off to you, Samantha. It takes a lot of courage. You are a true lioness. You've cut a path for many to follow, and God bless you.
No, thank you, Jamie. Thank you. Yeah, it was definitely in the moment, everything was just real from my heart. But in the moment, like you said, so many people thought, oh, they should just be quiet. Small businesses are getting help. It's not right. No, we're not getting help. And many of us, if you did, like exactly what you said, not to regurgitate it, but some of it you can't even live off of. But then there's the ones that got nothing. So it's like such a beautiful survival story, but it's also like to show you that once you are so strong in your conviction and you just keep fighting and you're doing the good fight for the children, for the world, for freedom, for for everything. And you know, I know this is small business. We are essential and stuff. And I get that. But really, ultimately, what I'm fighting for goes way deeper than my business. So I knew that I will risk it all. I'll risk my business. I'll risk everything because I'm standing. I'm standing for much more. And the rights, like you said, are for our rights. But it goes way more deeper for me. So that's why I took on the burden. That's why my kids saw me crying. That's why, you know, sleepless nights and going into court. So many people would have buckled right there. Nobody wanted the Section 9. When businesses stood past Section 22, the brave ones that did, when they were to get to anything else, they stopped, which is okay. God bless them. But I stood because I was like, no, we got to stand. God called me to that too. So it was a lonely road, but you know, I knew I had, you know, support from the love from everybody, but it was definitely going through it was hard. It was definitely hard. But once you stand, you know, and you have to stand strong, like small businesses, we have a role to play. We're all supposed to keep standing together, locking arms, because when you're doing it one, or like Jamie was the first, you know, when you're doing it by yourselves too, it's like you're getting more attention, right? There's more attention on you because it's not like 7 of us, 8 of us in the small town I'm in, or in a bigger city, you have 20 to 30, 40. We have none. We have handfuls of people doing it, like all scattered, right? Because you guys are scattered. I think one of you, Orangeville, Barrie. Where are you from, Jess?
Waterloo.
Right. So do you see what I mean? Like, I know we're all scattered
Yeah.
because I know there's not many. I was the only one in this whole, besides Jamie, but I was the only one stood. So it's like, it makes it harder. So hopefully it inspires, my story inspires people to stand. It has. A lot of people, a lot of small businesses have reached out to me. Lots. Because they get.
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you
Okay.
off there. I just,
Okay.
I know that we're a bit short on time, so I need to ask you, how did you beat the Section 22s?
Okay, so the Section 22s, literally, I laugh at that, saying like that to me was like a piece of cake compared to what they had me at like crazy, like Ontario government level. So the Section 22s to me was, so 2 of them, my lawyers went in and said, this is crazy. Like basically like helped to fight it for me. But then they came again and they were like, no, we're going to give her another one. So then I represented myself and I said, no, like I'm a spiritual center. I am essential. First of all, it doesn't matter what I do. However, I fall under the mental health where I'm helping people and they denied me. But I wrote back. I'm trying to think back because I've been dealt with so much. And I just wrote them back. I wrote the ministry or no, the public health. And I said, Simcoe. And I said, no, like I need to stay open. Like we're now in stage 3. And I said, it doesn't matter. Like you can't put this on me. Like I have to survive. I just wrote out a whole email, signed it, sent it over to them saying that like, I'll listen to you with your like capacity limits because they were saying, oh, my limiting and everything, right? With the capacity, I'm thinking, no, I'm listening to your capacity limits. And I beat them, like, you know, and again, I always say like the grace of God, he always carries me through. It's nothing short of a miracle. I wish I had more words to say, but it's my faith, trust me, that carries me. I just pray every time on my knees. I give it to him and then I just write it out, send it, and I beat all 3. So I'm grateful, you know. I had to represent the 3rd one my lawyers wanted. I couldn't afford it. I don't have money to do that anymore. So I'm like, I'm going to represent myself. Like at that moment, it was just a lioness in me and God in me and his armor. So I said, I'm doing it myself. I lose because this is all bullshit, you know?
So to all the business owners out there,
yeah,
Section 22s, you can beat yourself.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
just pay attention to that.
The writing in it, right? Like pay attention to, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you, Jamie. Like
no, that's
in
fine.
mine, everybody's is different. So in mine was like, you can't do this, you can't do that. But then I went back and counter. I said, no, I'm allowed to open. I will be able to do that. Like now we're in whatever phases we were in, right? You watch the phases, but I'm like, no, like this is this. Like, you know, my capacity is this. Okay, my class will be 10 people or whatever. I kind of just said, like, you guys are just shutting me down, you know, like, no, I know my freedom. I know my charter of rights. I know my rights as a sovereign being. So they kind of, what's the word for it? They said, okay, as long as you're going to listen and we're going to be able to come back and watch you. They're kind of threatening, like we're going to still send them to like surveillance you. It's so crazy. I was like, so that's how I beat it. The third one I did on my own. The first two, my lawyers helped with like the wording and the verbiage. But the third one, I was like, I'm just going to be me. I'm going to be raw. I don't care. This is like, I'm not a criminal. I'm not murdering people. I'm not harming people. I'm just going to be me. I'm not even going to pretend to be a lawyer. I'm just going to be me. And I was like, I'm keeping my business open.
I love your deep faith in
Thank
God,
you.
because we're all here by the grace of God. And the four
Right.
of us are four very strong business owners, but we have him to thank and to get through us in each day.
Exactly.
I was once told our prayers are our way of talking to God, and our intuition is God talking to us. And that's what makes us
1000%.
strong and fighting and have that faith. But I'm curious, is there like a certain Bible verse you read a lot, a certain prayer you say? Where does that stem from, if you're comfortable explaining that?
Oh, absolutely. So I've always been this way. Like I've always had God at my center, at my core. And actually on my arms, I have the verse from the Bible. So Psalms 46:5. So God is within her, she will not fall. And I have another verse on me. And I got them tatted just because I'm like, no, they need to be there from this one's from 2 Corinthians. So, and I will walk by faith even when I cannot see. And this is so deep for me because I couldn't see. Like, am I losing my business? Am I going to lose my home? At that point, when I got on my knees and I talked to my Heavenly Father, I said, I'm going to risk it all. Take it all away from me. I'm not attached to money, to cars, to even my own business, which I know you birthed through me. So I'm going to let it all go. I'm going to give it all to you, and you're going to guide me. And, some people may be on this podcast, but this is the God honest truth. I wish I could say, oh, my lawyer said this and this. No, I got on my knees and I prayed. And I said, I can't see right now. It's rocks and things are being thrown at me. It's a dark. I'm walking through the valley of the shadow of death. But I'm going to know that you're leading me you're holding my hand and you're guiding my every step through this because of my bravery and my courage. And I mean, it was prayers and everything it just all was beautiful because of my faith, from the minute the lawyers, started the case that morning. I went into prayer first. I wore all white. And the judge spoke to me at the end. I don't think I told you this, Jamie. The judge spoke to me at the end and she said, I read your 95-page affidavit. She goes, I don't know what you're going through, but she goes, thank you for being strong. Like, she was basically like on my side. It was beautiful. My lawyers were like, and my lawyer is a strict lawyer. And she's like, whoa, I've never seen that, where the judge actually has like empathy. And I just thank God right away. I know I'm staring all over with you, Kimberly, but I just I have him tatted on me. I have surrender in here. I have lots of quotes on my body because he literally carries me. And when I say how I'm standing, it's all because of him, because he'll send the healing in. He'll send, everyone at my prayer circles. He'll send more members for my dance. He'll send people in. So that's how I'm surviving, you see, through them, because I'm not this big time business owner, 10 years in the game and have all these people and families supporting me. I don't. So I always tell people that's how I'm standing, is by his grace. And so I just keep my faith in him. And I know another good one is Psalms 23, because it's talking about when you walk through the valley of the shadow of death, which is what we all are going through, fear no evil. So for as a business owner, don't fear them coming at your door. They're just in costumes. I actually said that to the cop. I said, I command you to move. I command you on the video, because I'm saying, who are you? Who are you to tell me, close your doors, lock down, right? So I just used the power within me from him and just told them to leave. And that video it blew up because it was all raw, it was all raw. It was like, go. And they left, right? But it was just like, stop coming. Because a lot of people would have been scared at that point. They're like, you got to close your doors. They're coming with these papers. I'm just like, what are those? They're not any use for me.
Well, I was going to say, the reason why a lot of people are scared when they're being approached is I did the same thing as what you did. And I know Adam Skelly from Adamson's Barbecue, because I've spoke with him. He did the exact same thing. Is there's a point where you wager what you're willing to sacrifice.
Right.
And when you decide you're willing to sacrifice it all, you
All.
have no more fear because you're not afraid of losing it, because you know what you're standing for is right.
Right.
And once you make that decision, then they just keep coming and you keep standing. And everyone that has gotten to the point of where you have gotten to, myself, because they left me alone. I didn't even get Section 22s, where Adam got to, where Henry Hildebrand has gotten to. It's because we know what we're doing is right. And we just keep pushing past. And the same with Zach from Foot Above Fitness. Like, all of these, including ourselves, have done that same thing where we're not afraid to lose it all. Once you get there, no more fear.
Yeah, like you fear, and I always say, because in court, they, we could sit here on like 5 podcasts, but I'm saying it funny. In court, they kept bringing up videos that they screen recorded, not even screen recorded, whatever programs they use, it's the government. They screen recorded my lives. They screen recorded all my stuff where I was talking about God, or I was talking about this, about the agenda, right? Because I'm deeper, like an open consciousness. I see through it. My third eye is awoke, and it's clear. So when I was saying all that stuff, and for them to bring that up in a court, like the Ontario court, using my lives and my personal conviction with God against me, I said, no, God's going to handle this right away, because he knows what I'm doing. It's not like I hired up lawyers to get me because I murdered or I did something, he knows my truth. He knows everyone, all of our truths. So it was crazy that they were bringing this up, doing all of that. And getting back to what Jamie's saying is, you can't have any fear. That's the biggest thing. You gotta be fearless, and not just say it. You gotta be it. You gotta walk it. You gotta say, I'm not scared. And that's exactly what I did. I was like, I will lose it all. I will risk it all, because at the end of the day, I did it for God. My kids are watching. They're gonna follow. I'm doing it for them, for their generation. And it was, like I said, it was much deeper than my small business. It really was, because it's way deeper than that. But obviously, getting back to obviously not wanting to lose our small businesses, but you got to be willing to lose it to stand, for sure, because they're just going to keep coming. But if you're hiding, you're taking part in that problem by not saying anything at all and not saying anything. You're part of the problem. I'm sorry. I'm so blunt. You got to stand, because we are all essential, right? So, yeah, that's the biggest thing, is that you got to stand. You got to stand. So it's great. I'm grateful for the We Are All Essential and everything too, because they started empowering and encouraging people to stand and to, like, but I feel like we all have our own journeys with it, because I definitely was like on my own page. Like, they went Section 22, Section 22, Section 22, $200,000, $200,000. Like, I got another personal fines. I got Section 9, which was the hugest thing. Like, again, Adamson and Hildebrand are the only ones, and now me. So it was like, wow, I went from like 0 to crazy, like 10,000. It was nuts. It was like so fast, right? Because everyone's different. Then there's people who are being loud, but maybe they're not testing the narrative. Maybe they're not standing against the agenda. So they were getting it easy peasy, just a couple little fines and taking pictures with bylaw officers. Like, it's cool. And then here I am thinking, what the heck? I'm trying to keep my center open, to heal people, to bring people to God, to save people. This is what I do on a daily basis. And you're telling me to close? You should actually give me some funding and let me open more, so more people, we can help them during this time. Because we know the mental health and emotional and physical and all these things that are happening to people is tripled, if not quadrupled now, and mental health illness and everything is on a rise even higher due to this. Suicide rates, everything. Everyone's overlooking that, but us small business owners, we have a role to play, and it's to stay strong, because we got to keep staying strong, because not only are we going to lose our business, but we're actually the world's going to keep crumbling. Right. And I feel like small business owners have a role to play in the breaking of all what's happening. And I will say it till the day I die.
I couldn't agree with you more. And going back to one point that you made, this whole war is with the individual. We are all going through our own individual things.
Right.
And this is where a lot of people are kind of having trouble wrapping their head around it, because as we're going through our own individual things, we get stronger, and then we're locking together as a community. But even as a community, you're still going to go through it independently. So with
Absolutely.
We Are All Essential, all of the business owners that are in there, a majority of them know that once the fight comes to your door, it's your own personal battle, and you have to guide yourself and navigate yourself through that. But through these experiences, we're able to share it back and forth and in live time, so that we're educating and helping those that are struggling the best we can. Sometimes you fall short. I mean, that's with everything. So
Yeah.
calling out to the businesses out there, I'm just going to kind of plug We Are All Essential. Come and join it. weareallessential.ca. You don't have to go public. You can stay private. Once you're comfortable and you've learned some either legal stuff or common law stuff, whatever stance you want to take, then you can go public with their website and then be known. If not, you don't have to. Get involved in the Telegram chat. We also do Zoom chats. It's very empowering. You get to speak with individuals that have gone through the process or are living through it or have gone through it. So you have multi-levels from some of us that have been open, like Zach, since October. Samantha, that's gone through all kinds of punches. Myself, some of the things that I did to get them at bay. So it's very educational. And on top of that, if you don't have a business, you can join as a volunteer. So come in and, all the shoulders, more shoulders, the better to carry the weight. And we're all going to get through this together. And again, we have to go through our own independence. I know you're on a timeline, Samantha.
Yeah, it's okay. What time are we at? I'm so like, my phone won't show me.
We're about right where you have to go, about 10 to the hour.
We're good. Yeah. As long as 7,
Okay.
Yeah, we're good for another 10 minutes is good. I just never wanted to, I could talk forever, but like,
No,
I gotta teach.
I've spent many a phone calls with you. So yes,
I know.
we both can talk for a while. Yeah.
We both can. No, but just to touch on what you just said about the community, it is amazing no matter what, because we all individually are fighting. I think the biggest thing now is for the newer ones coming in or prepping or, now joining and feeling like they want to take a stand or they're going to go against, and stand up. It is important, like Jamie said, because we are a community of, they could just figure out the ones who stood or who got beaten and broken and like in courts, and like it's good because you can, it's a community. You can find out what's going on. I'm finding a lot of people reaching out to me too. So I'm here for that. I'm here if there's any business owners that are really nervous to stand, because that happens. They're like scared. It's good to have this community so you can speak with people who actually walk the walk. Right? It's different when you're just kind of in it and nothing's happening to you. But when you're like beaten down to the ground and you've gone through it with the government and public health, it's a good community to just figure out who did and speak with them. Because I had spoke with Jamie when he was first open. Like, he was the only one in the area because we were nearby and we're both in Simcoe. And it empowered me too, because I was like, wow. He's like, yeah, I just stayed open. And then they came to the door and I'm like, oh, okay. Right. So it's good to know, even though mine turned out to be like this crazy, I didn't even want it to be that, but like God prepped me for that. I had to just go all the way, but they beat me down. But you know what? I didn't fall. I didn't go to the ground. But it's definitely a really good networking community. So I'll definitely say that. Yep.
I actually, it was for myself too. I've mentioned this in a previous podcast as well. It was actually Jamie's videos that helped me with the strength to open as well too.
Yep, it was Jamie.
It's always it's very, very difficult to be the first person out the gate, and so it's always just a little bit easier as you see more people kind of going through it. So that's another thing I have to add for any other businesses watching this, that like you might feel alone, you might feel like you're unempowered or that you don't have the strength, but I'm telling you, when you see other businesses and what they've gone through and how they're still standing strong and just pushing through, it really does help to show you the width and breadth of the whole situation. So you can kind of like, it's not just some unknown darkness that you're heading into. You can really see kind of like what has happened and how this has been solved and fought and everything. And really, like, if you've put, your life's work a lot of these people into your business? Are you going to really let it crumble for some stupid mandate? Like, these aren't even laws. It's just ridiculous. And so some person coming to your door telling you have to close because of some ridiculous thing where down the street there's a fast food place that's doing stuff that you're basically doing and they're allowed to stay open, like, it's just ridiculous. And so, yeah, and especially to being a place of worship. So just as a last kind of thing before we end it, because we are trying to keep the episodes a little bit more digestible in form.
Sure.
Did you have any other, like, anything that you'd like to plug or anything that you'd like to make our viewers like aware of or anything like that?
Not much, no, just nothing much. I think it's just a little bit about the story and that's pretty much it. No, that's it. About the main thing is pretty much is that I'm here, I'm open. And if anybody ever needs any help spiritually, mind, body, and soul connection, I'm here for everybody. Actually, really important is I started a pod, so like a learning pod. So it's absolutely free because what I found was I pulled my daughter out of the system too. But, for all these people, even small business owners that have kids and everything, people were creating pods and charging so much money, but I've created pods within my business. So maybe that's something really important. And I don't charge anybody because, we got to do God's work here too and do our part wherever we can. So yeah, I have a pod out there. So, I mean, there's a lot of things going on. So if anyone's interested even in that and just knowing how to have courage to pull your kids out of the system and just provide a different life for them in a different way. You're not alone. Don't want them in the mask and all of that. So I pretty much stand up against everything. I'm not just standing for my business. I'm against everything. So I know it's a little deeper for this podcast, but I mean, definitely if there's people out there that need some help in everything, just standing against all of it, please hit me up because God will work through me for you for sure. Because I'm doing it on all levels, not just my business. I'm doing it against all these mandates for the children. It's awful. So that's pretty much all I would like to share for our kids because it's a war on them right now. So I'm just really trying to step up for them.
We'll get the information from you and make sure to include that in our description so that people can access that and take advantage of that because you're absolutely right. Kids are suffering. I would almost even argue the most out of this because their future is just falling like smoke between their hands right now. And just with the masking and everything, the things that they're losing out on that they don't even know that they're losing out on right now.
Exactly.
Where we as adults can look back with some perspective on it, but it's just an absolute tragedy. So, with that, I think we'll wrap it up for here. But thanks so much for being on. We really appreciate that and you sharing your story and your strength. That is huge, and just to show people that even through the absolute thick of it, that if you have maintained that strength in yourself and your direction, through faith, through self-belief, through everything, that you can really pull through and make and work wonders. Really.
Oh yeah, you can move mountains. So yeah, just keep that conviction strong. No, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you for being on, Samantha. What a powerhouse of a lioness in the display of everything you've done. You've made me proud. I've talked to you several times on the phone and just watching what you've done. I'm very thankful to know you and appreciative to know you and watched you through your struggle and your stand. And my hat's off to you.
Thank you, Jamie.
For being so strong. And the other thing I'd like to remind everybody is the declaration of emergency was canceled June 9th, 2021. So none of this stuff should be going on. That's what that means. But anyways, we'll cut it off there. So have a great night.
Yes, have a good night. Bye, girls. And bye, Jamie.
Bye.
God bless
Bye,
you all.
everyone.
Bye, sweetie.
Bye.
Bye.